Hi all, and welcome to this week's Railway Stakes Preview 2016. Cracking Group 1 race coming up at Ascot Racecourse in Perth. So to help me find the winner, I've got Rick Chapman joining me. Rick, how are you this morning, mate?
Yeah, very good. Run off my feet. Very hot in Sydney today. Can't wait to go to the beach. But I've done the form and we're ready to tip a winner.
Okay, this looks a pretty straightforward one for me, Rick. How about you? You think there's a few chances in the race, or have you stood one out?
Well, I've stood one out. It's a classic case of East meets West. We've got to believe, this is my view anyway, we've got to believe that the sanctity of the Spring Carnival form is the strongest. Otherwise, it puts a question mark on the trickle-down effect of all carnivals. But I believe the Melbourne Cup Carnival is the strongest of form lines. If you do well there, you should be able to parlay that into other carnivals. And therefore, I've come up with Macintosh, despite the barrier and the roundness of the Ascot track, to punch forward, sit up on the outside of the lead. They'll slow it down mid-race, and I think he'll get away. I respect the WA form immensely. I think Lightning in My Veins is extremely good. I think Perfect Reflection was very gutsy. I thought at the weights, Tradesman probably comes out of that race as the best horse to back in this one. But I'm going for the Eastern form, Macintosh, to win in a close one from Lightning in My Veins and Tradesman. But I think it's a great field and one that WA Racing should be proud of.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rick, in the fact that the Eastern States form does look stronger. It's generally the case, but the West Australian horses, they have that home ground advantage. They haven't had to travel, halfway across the country, and it's a big country. It's a bit of a flight over there, so they've got that advantage on their side. And over the years, we've seen some good horses go over there and fail. So, but the same way we've seen Good Project took the race out last year. He travelled well and got the job done. Goes back for a second crack at the race with a couple of kilos more. Macintosh definitely got to be in there, but I'm in with one that you mentioned as well, Rick, Tradesman. I think I was really surprised when they put up 380 for Perfect Reflection, because you watch that last replay, Tradesman's run was far better. He covered a lot more ground than what she did. She got a saloon passage through them, and they were both second up from a spell, so they should have the same amount of improvement in them. He meets her 3.5 kilos better at the weights. His last two preparations, he's won third up from a spell. He's unbeaten in 3 starts at the distance, placed in all 4 starts at the track. So with that in mind, dropping from 59 down to 53 kilos on Saturday, I'm all over Tradesman. So I think he's definitely the top pick of the locals. It's just whether he can beat, as you said, Macintosh and Good Project and a few others, he or she. And Darren Weir's got Regis going over there as well, which I was all over last start. But his peak pattern suggests he might put in a less improved performance this time. So I'm steering away from him. But yeah, Tradesman for me.
Yeah, look, they're very well thought out reasons. And then, as I say, I like him because of the way he got to the line and the weight differential. And I think Lightning in My Veins is very smart. And Fred Kersley is an astute man who has picked this horse for this race. So if we trifecta those 3, leave out Perfect Reflection, and toss in Macintosh, Lightning in My Veins, and Tradesman, we'll probably get this, and it's got to be paying. Oh, I'd have to pay $250, $300 trifecta.
Yeah, the thing that gets me, she is a class horse though, Rick. I tipped her in the Kingston Town last year, and she got up, and that was a massive effort. I've said Tradesman's run was better, I think, but she is a classy mare and can't be discounted either. So with the right run, she could figure in the mix. But I've got Tradesman on top of her, and especially value-wise, I've got him at $11. He's into 7 now. So I just think the 11 they put up originally was ridiculous. So, but I definitely won't be putting more on at 7, but 11 will do me.
I grew up in the era when the Perth Cup was 2 miles, and if you won the Victoria Derby or placed in there, you trekked across the Nullarbor and you ran in the WA Derby. And I remember Diana doing it years ago. And then he backed up in the Perth Cup. So I wish they'd get back to programming that. But saying that, programming it so closely to the Spring Carnival the way they've done it here, they've got a few good horses, and we know Terra Vista goes over for the Winterbottom next week and will win that for fun. So this is a good carnival, and I'm glad to see they got $1 million on offer for this race.
Yeah, well, Malaguera is also over for that one, Rick. So there's a couple of good ones going over from the eastern states.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's a carnival I've never actually ever been to, and I wish I could. Maybe we'll hit up our bosses for a trip over there next year.
Yeah, sounds good. And the incentives they put up this year to get horses over are pretty good, Rick. So they pay for the trainers, business class tickets, return, put them up in a nice hotel, and it's free transport for the horses as well. But the conditions are, if you go into that agreement, that you've got to, if you run first, I think it was $25,000 you've got to pay back to the fund, and trickles down for second and third, etc. So that's good incentive.
Oh, absolutely. And those sort of things need to be. I'd love to be in charge of programming and just have a brand new school of thought come in. I'd put on, like the Greys race, for example. We see Melbourne Cup Carnival. That's a terrific concept. And I think somebody who is innovative can come along and program things and add incentives, like you've just mentioned, to get horses to races. This isn't the forum to get things off my chest, reprogramming, but the opportunity exists, I believe, to really spice up Australian racing and make it good for owners, because the owners are the backbone. You need them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Railway Stakes picks anyway. Macintosh for you and Tradesman for me. What about a best for around the country on Saturday, Rick?
I like Montauk in Sydney. I just think the way the race will be run, there'll be a lot of pace on, and it's cheap pace that'll get tired in the stretch, and Montauk's back to his best, and I think he might power over the top of them. So he'll be probably my biggest bet of the day. And up in Queensland, Sarajevo is the best weighted horse I've seen in a race for 30 years. If he doesn't win, I might sit here with a shirt off next week.
Something for the viewers to look forward to, Rick.
There you go.
All right, well, my best is at Morphettville on Saturday. Philip Stokes paid $270,000 for this nice, all too hard colt. So gelding, I think he is now. But Eclair Sunshine goes around in race one, opened up at $2 into $1.90 now. But first trial was okay. Second trial was fantastic. If he takes any improvement out of that, he'll take a power beating. So Eclair Sunshine, first at Morphettville, is a special for mine.
Very good. Well, I'm not surprised to hear that, simply because as a keen watcher of new stallion progeny, the all too hards are just starting to hit their straps everywhere. Just trials over the last 2 weeks in Sydney, and everything's been won by the progeny of all too hard. So you might well be onto something there.
Yeah, well, this one showed great gate speed and just cruised along in its last trial. Tony McAvoy's Vinland was further back in the pack, and he was really pushed out of the trial to charge this thing down. He made up some ground, but Eclair Sunshine went to the line under a stranglehold, and Vinland since gone to Melbourne. He ran fifth last week, in a decent race. So the form from the trials stood up anyway, I think, and this one was just a lot more impressive than Tony's, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll get on there. You can't lose this weekend with those tips, everybody. Good luck.
That's it. All right, there's 4 to follow anyway. Hopefully one of us can have success in the railway and enjoy a great weekend of punting, guys.
Yeah, exactly right. Wherever you are, bet wisely.